seatbelt on back there. You just forget to put it on.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm wearing my seatbelt.
You didn't have it on a while ago. I was in the median when you came by and you didn't have it on.
Alright.
You get your license on you?
I mean, I do, but I'm not technically driving. You know? I'm traveling. And I don't think not wearing a seatbelt is a crime.
It's an infraction.
Well, that's kind of like for commercial drivers.
No,
you know?
It's not. You have to wear your seatbelt.
I'm just a man traveling.
Okay. Don't go nowhere.
All right.
Be right back.
Wonder what he's gonna say. He's probably bringing me a ticket. Fucking stupid printout fucking tickets.
Oh, yeah.
Because he knows my name through the plates. So.
Oh, it comes back.
I don't know. This is the first time I've ever done this shit. Fucked with him.
So if he asks you to sign it, you're going to sign it with it?
Yeah, I'll reserve my rights. But that's the thing about North Carolina. They give you those printouts where you don't sign it. They're just like, here. And it's not even a contract. Stupid ass seatbelt bullshit. How much was that shit? Like 150 fucking dollars? 180 fucking dollars. Fuck that shit.
Sir?
Yes, sir.
You can be placed under arrest for failing to produce your ID. Alright?
That's not a law either.
It is.
No, that's not a law. If I only have to produce ID if I'm committing a crime. I haven't committed a crime. I'm not harming it. I'm not harming anyone. I'm just traveling. I'm not harming anyone, and you're trying to charge me $180.
Alright. Well, I'm gonna go back to my car.
I mean, I'll take the ticket if you want to give me the ticket.
Produce your ID.
Okay. I mean, I'm not consenting to driving. I'm just saying. But I'll give you my ID just so I ain't trying to be threatened with arrest when I've committed no crime. I've done nothing wrong. I don't know if you've ever heard the United States Constitution, but that's there to stop people from being harassed, you know?
I appreciate your cooperation. I'll be right back.
Okay. And excuse me, sir, if you give me a ticket, I would like to be able to have 2 copies. I would like to sign it.
Sign it?
Yeah, if I'm going to contract with you, then...
We don't sign copies.
Well, then I don't want to contract with you then.
I'll be right back.
The dashcam footage opens on a quiet stretch of road under a pale sky, the kind of ordinary moment where nothing seems remarkable until authority meets defiance, and from the very first second it's clear that this stop will not be routine, because behind the wheel sits a man already convinced he is untouchable, already rehearsing lines he's memorized from forums and videos that promised him immunity from consequence, and when the state trooper approaches with calm, professional steps, hand resting lightly near his belt, posture firm but controlled, the driver does not greet him with cooperation but with posture, attitude, and the unmistakable confidence of someone who believes words alone can dismantle the law, and as the trooper asks the most basic request, license and registration, the driver launches into his script, claiming he is not driving but traveling, that he is a sovereign being, that the state has no jurisdiction over him, and that this stop is unlawful, and the camera captures the subtle shift in the trooper's expression, not anger, not surprise, but recognition, because this is not his first encounter with this ideology, and he knows exactly where this road leads, yet he remains patient, explaining calmly, clearly, that the law applies regardless of belief, that operating a motor vehicle on public roads requires compliance, and that refusal will escalate the situation, but the driver smirks, interrupts, talks over him, insists that he does not consent, as if consent were a magical shield, and the tension builds as the trooper repeats his lawful order, voice steady, unraised, every word measured, while the driver's tone grows sharper, louder, more theatrical, peppered with pseudo-legal phrases and misused case law, and for a moment you can almost see the internal conflict in the driver's eyes. The desire to dominate the interaction battling the creeping realization that this officer is not backing down. And when the trooper gives the final warning, stating plainly that failure to comply will result in arrest, the driver laughs, believing arrest itself would be illegal, believing the uniform, the badge, the authority are all illusions he can dismiss with language, but reality does not negotiate, and when the trooper steps back, signals for backup, and issues the command to exit the vehicle, the shift is immediate, because power has moved, and the driver senses it too late, raising his voice, repeating his slogans faster, louder, as if volume might summon protection, but the door opens, the cuffs come out, and suddenly the abstract fantasy of sovereignty collides violently with concrete law enforcement procedure, and the driver resists verbally, then physically, insisting again and again that this is kidnapping, that this is unlawful detention, but the camera captures the unyielding truth. Resistance changes nothing except the consequences, and as the trooper secures him, explaining each step for the record, professionalism intact, the driver's bravado drains away, replaced by frustration, disbelief, and anger not at the system but at the fact that it didn't bend for him. And as he is escorted to the patrol car, still lecturing, still reciting, the irony becomes impossible to ignore. The ideology that promised freedom has delivered handcuffs, and the roadside that was supposed to be a stage for dominance has become a lesson in authority. And even then the script continues, inside the vehicle, where the driver demands a supervisor, demands release, demands recognition of his imagined status, while the trooper documents the arrest with meticulous calm, each checkbox another nail in the coffin of fantasy. And when they arrive at the station the narrative only deepens, because the courtroom does not care about roadside rhetoric, and as the judge reviews the charges, listens patiently to the same arguments now stripped of their intimidation factor, the outcome becomes inevitable, because courts run on statutes, precedent, and jurisdiction, not internet doctrine. And when the judge responds, measured, firm, unimpressed, explaining that sovereign citizen arguments have been repeatedly rejected, that the defendant is subject to the same laws as everyone else, that failure to comply will result in harsher penalties, the camera captures the moment the realization finally lands, heavy and undeniable, that belief does not override law, and that confidence without competence is merely noise. And as the gavel falls, the transformation is complete. From cocky certainty to silent consequence, from imagined autonomy to documented accountability. And the lesson echoes far beyond this single stop, far beyond this one driver, serving as a stark reminder that authority exercised lawfully does not need aggression to prevail, that calm enforcement is often the most powerful response to chaos, and that no matter how convincing a script may sound in theory, reality always gets the final line. Inside the holding area the atmosphere shifts from roadside tension to institutional finality, where fluorescent lights replace flashing blues and paperwork replaces posturing, and the man who once spoke endlessly about rights now finds himself silent between questions, realizing too late that systems do not argue, they process, and as fingerprints are taken in personal items catalogued, each procedural step feels heavier than the last because it represents permanence, a paper trail that cannot be talked away. And even here he attempts to regain control, questioning authority, demanding legal citations, asserting once more that he does not recognize the court, but the clerk barely looks up, accustomed to such declarations, continuing the routine with mechanical precision. And this indifference wounds deeper than confrontation ever could, because nothing undermines perceived power like being ignored. And when the door closes behind him and the bench becomes his temporary home, the silence forces reflection he's avoided. Yet instead of accountability he clings harder to narrative, rehearsing defenses, convincing himself the judge will see what the trooper did not, that the system will suddenly validate his worldview. But the courtroom is not a stage for belief, it is a venue for law. And when his name is called and he steps forward, posture stiff, eyes alert, the judge listens patiently, allowing him to speak, not because the arguments hold weight but because fairness demands the opportunity. And as he launches into jurisdictional challenges and semantic distinctions, the judge interrupts calmly, explaining line by line that public roads fall under state authority, that operating a motor vehicle constitutes driving regardless of terminology, that consent is not a prerequisite for enforcement. And with each clarification the walls close in, not aggressively but inexorably, and the judge's tone never rises, never mocks, never engages emotionally, which strips the arguments of oxygen. And when precedent is cited, cases dismissed, appeals denied, arguments labeled frivolous, the driver's confidence fractures visibly, because this is no longer one officer's opinion but an entire legal framework rejecting him. And when the judge warns that continued refusal to comply may result in contempt, fines, or incarceration, the threat is not dramatic but procedural, which makes it terrifyingly real. And suddenly the fantasy of autonomy collapses under the weight of consequences, and for the first time his voice softens, questions replacing declarations, uncertainty creeping in. Where certainty once lived, but the system does not rewind, and the ruling stands, charges remain, compliance is ordered, and as he's escorted back, the lesson becomes unavoidable. Sovereignty claimed without recognition is isolation, not freedom, and the irony sharpens when he requests legal counsel, invoking the very framework he rejected, because when consequences arrive, even the loudest dissent seeks protection from the law it denied, and the camera lingers on the empty courtroom afterward, a quiet space where countless similar arguments have risen and fallen, all ending the same way, reinforcing the truth that belief does not negate obligation, that law does not require agreement to function, and that arrogance often disguises fear of accountability. And as the footage fades, the message resonates beyond the individual, serving as caution rather than spectacle, reminding viewers that resistance built on misinformation leads not to liberation but to loss, and that calm authority, exercised within the bounds of law, remains undefeated not because it demands obedience, but because it is backed by reality itself.